Hi guys, this is Laura. I am so excited to do a New Year's look for you today, and I'm calling it the Cheater Cut Crease. This will be fancy and easy. Okay, so here we go. I've already got my foundation on, and let's see, what else do I have going here? I have foundation, I have some contour, I have some blush, and I have some powder on. So we have a nice flat palette. Now remember, normally you do your eyeshadow first, and then you would do that so that you can clean everything up, but we're doing it backwards just for the sake of the show. The first thing we're going to do is use our P3. So I like to use P3 on a foundation brush. So I'm just gonna squeeze it right on there. Get on there, there we go. And then we're gonna do both of our eyelids, all the way top to bottom. There we go, get that whole eyelid there. Foundation brush is about this size foundation brush is really nice for doing both cut creases and primer, anything on your eyelid. It's handy. You can get right under your eyebrow. See that? The reason to use the primer is that one, it just creates a really nice surface for your makeup to go on. It keeps it on better, but two, it's very important because it helps the pigment attach to your eyelids. Okay, so now we're done with P3. We're gonna move on to our shadow palette. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is we're going to do a base of the Milky Way. So I like this particular type of brush, and you can see it's got a little angle to it. You take the flat side of the brush and you hold it out. And that way it's going to contour to your eye. You can see that first little swipe there. And then you're just going to fill in. You don't need to get the lid all that much. This is more about the lower lid, I mean. This is really more about the upper lid. But it's okay if you get on there too, because that's how we're gonna do our fake cut crease later. There we go, and do the other side. See how great that pigment goes on there? Same thing over here. This is a really quick look, and it's the nice thing about having a lot of pigment is you can get some really good depth of color on without putting a ton of layers on, so it's way faster. There we go. Okay, so I'm not quite even, so I'm gonna go back in and make sure I even these out. See, always look straight at yourself and make sure that you even everything out. Nobody is even. So you just kind of have to adjust from one side and the other. Alrighty. I think that looks pretty good. Good enough. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take the Venus. And we're going to use a smaller brush. It's the exact same brush, but it's like miniature. So we're going to take the Venus and we're going to do on top of this line we just made. So you're going to go about half over it and half above it. You're going to go right along that line. Half over, half above. And kind of a little sunset. So we're going to do sort of a reverse sunset where it's darker on the bottom, a little lighter to the top. Same thing on this side. This does two things. One, it gives you the pretty second color, but it also acts to blend a little bit. It's kind of cheater blending. So there we go. Check straightforward, make sure you're even. I always get this at a little uneven. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna wipe our brush off and we're going to go, using that same brush, we're gonna go into the Milky Way. That sounds funny, we're gonna go into the Milky Way. We're astronauts now. Okay, so now we're going to go right above that. And as you're going, do little circles, little tiny circles, and this will blend those together. There's one. Circles. Again, a little bit more on this side. Make sure I'm even. There we go, there's two. Now we're gonna take that same Milky Way and we're just gonna go right here and do that corner. A little bit more in there. Okay, and we're gonna do the same with the other eye. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to start our cheater cut crease. What you want to do is get a very small brush, like this one. It's basically just a little tiny foundation brush. Then you're going to take your P3 primer, where is it? There it is. Then you're going to take your P3 primer and put a little on the brush. So the reason we're doing this is to get an extra layer of primer there for this pigment to stick to, so you don't have to go over it with foundation and be super careful. Alright, so we're just going to do the lid. And this little brush makes it so much easier. Just the lower lid. I'm trying to make a nice straight line. There we go, there's one. You can't really see anything, but it's there, take my word for it. Okay, other side. And just a nice straight line. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, no one's gonna notice. There we go, nicely primed. There we are. All right, that guy down, throw it back on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a brush that's the shape it's rounded but has a little point at the end, and we are going to go back in with Venus. All right, so what you want to do is put that little point and we're just going to dab. It's called stippling. I'm just going to stipple right along that edge that we just made. Stippling is better than trying to draw a straight line because it's so much easier to get it straight. Just touch it and pull it down a little bit. So that way you get a nice straight line. And do the whole eyelid. You guys can probably tell I have tattooed eyeliner, so I'm just going right over it. It doesn't always have to be the one you use. There we go. Let's do the other side. Look how awesome and opaque that is. So pretty. And it's so easy, you don't have to worry about messing up that straight line. There we go. All right, so now that you've got that part done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back in and we're gonna do the top, but we're gonna use an angle brush. So grab a little bit of your Mars, pull it up, and it's the same thing. A nice sharp brush makes it so much easier. And then you just go over the top. You could actually use the other brush, but I find that that brush is just easier when you're moving down and this one's easier when you're moving up. There we go. Okay, so now that we've gone across both sides, you can see how it already looks like you've got a cut crease. What we're going to do to make that cut crease a little more obvious is add some Almond glitters. Okay, I'm actually going to do it on a brush since we're not just rubbing it on our skin. All right, pull that out. Right there. Voila, easy. And then we're gonna do it on the bottom. So just make a little line across the bottom. Little fun sparkle. Pull it on into the lid, to that corner. There we go. Same thing on the other side. A little bit of sparkle, so fun for New Year's Eve too. There you go, perfect. Now we're also going to do underneath the eye just a little bit with the shadow instead of the liner. So we're gonna go with the Venus, using that same brush. Go right underneath. There we go. Other eye. So we're going from just shy of the inner corner, right about here, to just shy of the outer corner. After that, we're going to pick up our Mars and do the outer corner. You can connect it to this upper line here. And just blend in a little bit. Same thing with the other side. Just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the inner corner with the Milky Way. There we go. So the top mirrors the bottom. Other corner. we go. Now we're gonna start our eyeliner. I'm gonna use the Works in Dark Brown to line the top of my eyes and just a little bit underneath. What I like to do is decide where the wing's going to start and work from there. The best way to do that is to look at yourself straight on and just make a mark. I'm gonna use a little eyeliner pen to make the mark. Can you see that little mark? This way you don't end up with uneven wings. Now you can draw a little dotted line down to the corner of your eye just to make it easier later. And then do the same on the top. And then check it straight on. Make sure it matches. Mine is a little thicker on this side. I could either thin this or thicken this, but since it's New Year's Eve, I'm going to thicken this one. Okay, now it looks like it's going to be pretty even. Okay, so now I'm going to fill in with the Works. I like to pull my skin up a little bit, just for a smooth surface. So I'm going to go underneath just a little. And then we'll do across the top. I like to go all the way into the inner corner. There you go. Now we'll do it with the other eye. So we fill in. So now for the final part, getting our hair done. You guys have probably noticed that my hair is long and then short and then up and then down and then straight and then really curly. That's because I wear a lot of different hair pieces. So I'm ready to put one on. So I have a little wig cap on the back of my hair and I'm going to put on a 3/4 wig, which means that the front of your hair stays out, but the back of the hair is the wig, so it blends a lot better. So the first thing I'm going to do is curl my hair because the wig that I'm going to put on is very curly. So I have a very small curling iron. This is a 3/8 inch curling iron. I'm going to do tiny little curls. So here we go. Little kind of ringy curls. Curl number 1. So this will take just a couple of minutes because you don't want to put a lot of hair in these little curls because they won't look right. But look at that, isn't that fun? Look at that little tiny guy. Next. So, no big deal. Now remember, I don't know if you guys saw my tutorial before about curling, but put it in, put the hair on the curler, start to curl it, and then loosen it and let it through a little bit so that end gets in there. Otherwise, you'll get little, we call them fishtails at the end. They look like hooks. If you're going to do your whole head, you'd want to segment this and put it in some different sections with either ponytail bands or clips, but since we're doing such a small amount of hair, we're just going to go for it. One nice thing about somebody else's hair, or I guess synthetic hair in this situation, is that you don't, you curl a little at the front of your hair, but you really don't damage the rest of your hair, which is nice. Because hair gets easily damaged with things like curling tools and whatnot, so it's nice to not damage it a little bit. There we go. I look like just a little bit of a curly Sue. All right, now we're gonna go grab that 3/4 wig. Alrighty, I'm back. So what you do with these is you're just gonna put your head down, you put it from the front to the back, tuck it under, and then flip it over. Whew. All right, now, put that in the right spot, and you take those curls that you did, you just run your fingers through them so they blend in. Just like that. If you need to do a couple more, it's no problem. But the big thing is that you don't want to this is a synthetic wig, it will melt. So you just want to make sure if you do have to touch a couple curls up, don't accidentally melt your wig, because that would be tragic. And it's always good to pull some from this side over to cover the band. So we're just going to take a little of that, put this guy over here. Maybe not quite so much. There we go. And I like to have a little height in front, so I'm just going to tease this very front section. Like that. And give it a little height. There we go, blends right in. You can take this end, pull it through, just to blend everything. Okay. And there we go.